you know, it's
Uh, you know, uh,
um, part of it's probably designed to take the heat off myself.
you don't say. You don't say. Is that why it is? Next story I wanted to talk about is about a guy named Johnny Enlow. Now, I've talked about this guy a whole bunch in the past, but he just keeps coming out with the weirdest shit. This clip is from late December 2021. It's not that old. To give you some context for this clip, he was basically asked by Mr. Steve Schultz over here if he's a prophet. Let's see what his answer is. Is Johnny Enlow a prophet or not?
I've said before uh, that I don't announce myself as such. And I have been called that for more than 20 years as I travel around. I have never asked anybody to call me that. I've been introduced, in Baptist churches. I've been introduced to presidents and prime ministers and other things as prophet. And in none of those cases did I ask for that to happen.
Okay, let me give you a little tip here, Johnny. If you aren't something, then you don't just, accept a title and go on with your day. You denounce it and correct it. People have been calling me a cult expert for years, and when they do, I correct them and say I am not a cult expert. I am a cult communicator. I don't know that I could call myself an expert unless I got a PhD in the field. I have an associate's degree in the field, not a PhD. So I'm not comfortable with being called an expert in my field. I accept the title of communicator. Isn't that a stark difference? Somebody calls you a prophet and you just shut your mouth and accept it.
But I was introduced as such and respected and accepted as such, and even received a diploma of honor from nation of Peru, something done by 6 different congressmen
Wow, wow.
for work in Peru. And really, it's because prophetic words came true at a very macro
And
or
can I? And I want to ask this real quick because you and I have talked about this a little bit. I want to make sure that people hear what you're saying and what you're not saying. You're saying you've never ever been asked. You've never asked people to call you a prophet, but you're not saying that you're not a prophet.
Isn't that convenient? I wonder, why do you guys think he's not outright saying he's not a prophet, but he accepts the title? What logical conclusions could we arrive at with the information we have currently?
that's correct.
Okay.
And so, it's
Uh, you know, uh,
um, part of it's probably designed to take the heat off myself.
You don't say. You don't say. Is that why it is? To take the heat off yourself, huh? Okay. Things are starting to add up a little bit now.
Heat off myself.
Okay.
Um, I'm not saying, but I do not say I'm not a prophet.
Yeah, that's not the only time he said that, anyways. There's another clip. So that one was from late December 2021, okay? He said something really similar late January 2021. Give this one a listen. Talking to the same dude, Steve Schultz.
Here's the deal. I don't call myself prophet. I don't put it on my website. I don't. Uh, I don't announce myself as Prophet Johnny. A lot of people do. And in fact, that's how I'm announced most. And when I'm contacted, when I'm called, when government leaders contact me, that's what they call me.
Government leaders shouldn't be calling this dude in the first place. I happen to know that most of the government leaders that he deals with are outside of the United States, so I'm a little bit less upset about that. They're like Peruvian and Bolivian and stuff like that. But government leaders shouldn't be working church into state anyways. In my opinion, that is morally wrong and dangerous, extremely dangerous to meld church and state that way. But here we are. Let's keep listening.
If you receive me as a prophet, I'm a prophet. If you don't, I'm not. If a prophet to you means, do I get everything 100% correct, including timing, nuance, everything, every detail? Absolutely not.
Well, I'll tell you what a prophet means to me. Being a prophet to me would mean you are capable of making a prediction that would be impossible to know any other way than through God. Any other way. That means it would have to be very specific with the events that would take place. It would have to be very specific with the time. And there would have to be no way of knowing that that event was going to play out in that exact way at that exact time except through God. So you would have to have no information on this event taking place beforehand. If you wrote down events and a time that were going to take place and put it in an envelope and mailed it to me, and I held on to it for 5 years, 5 years later, I opened the envelope, and sure enough, it details everything that happened with times and everything a year beforehand. Then I might be willing to accept it, but I'd still want to do some heavy investigation. Is that what we see? Of course it isn't. Of course that's not how things go. This guy has a tendency to make claims about God telling him things, about Trump being put back into office in 2021, saying it was going to be this month, this week, it's going to happen. Look, we're in 2022 now. What the fuck happened? Did he just make that shit up? Did God actually say anything to him at all? How can we possibly come to the conclusion that you're a prophet when everything you prophesy is wrong or could be found by other means? I need something more than just simple stuff that anybody could have come up with. I need something real, and I haven't seen any of that. I just see some guy out here making loose claims that could have been known by other ways, and it's kind of a hit or miss thing. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're not. Like a 50-50 chance type of thing. I need better than chance to believe it.
So if that's your criteria for am I a prophet, then I'm not.
Perfect.
So if I'm not and I'm telling you, I go with that for you. Then you can't stone me either because I'm not a false prophet.
Hey, how about that shit? There's your reason right there. It seems to me like he's kind of playing coy with this. He knows the punishment for bearing false witness or being a false prophet or something like that could be stoning. And he's trying to, do the old over-under to avoid it with God. You think God gives a shit about your clever little ploy to avoid getting stoned? You think you're not going to face judgment at God's hands for lying like that? Of course, I don't believe in God at all, but it seems to me that he should be pretty fucking worried about this. If I were him, I would be pretty fucking worried.
But I will tell you, for those who don't know, I have met with the mayor and said there's soon going to be discovered in your city 2 salt mines, and it was discovered. I said there's going to be a silver mine discovered.
Why the fuck would God give a shit about a salt mine or a silver mine? Why would God care? Why would he tell you so you could tell them about a fucking salt mine? This is nonsense. Why would anybody give a shit about this? Honestly, I can't even believe he's using it as proof. I mean, that's what he's doing right now, right? He's proving that he's a prophet, or attempting to. He just told us, I'm not a prophet. And now he's trying to prove that he is. Effectively, what he just did was sat in front of the 400,000 or so followers that Steve Schultz has on Facebook and told us he's a prophet, but don't tell anybody. Effectively, that's what he did.
There's going to be a zinc mine discovered. It was discovered. A lost city of the Incas is going to make world news. It was discovered. I was given 2 keys to the city in 2 subsequent trips. It's Mayor Luis Ordóñez from Saposoa.
And God told you all this? God gave you this information? Please tell me how this information would further God's goals. God doesn't just give people prophecy for no reason, right? There must be some kind of a goal here. And why wasn't it the U.S. government that he was prophesying about? Why was it other countries? Why was it outside the U.S. or even Canada? Why not developed countries like U.S., Canada, European countries? Why not Germany? Hell, why not China? Prove to China that you really are a prophet of God. Turn that atheistic country Christian. That seems like something God would do, right? He wants people to follow him. Simple solution. Easy way to make a bunch of people follow you. Prove that you're real. Is that too much? God doesn't want to prove that he's real because that wouldn't be real faith. If they knew, then you wouldn't need faith. Is that what it is? This is ridiculous from beginning to end. Apparently, Johnny Enlow has been prophesying about the United States, actually. The prophecies that he's most famous for making were that Trump was going to be reinstated as president sometime in the year 2021. Yeah, guess what? Ship sailed on that one. Check this out. Same interview, late January 2021. Listen to what he had to say here.
So there's all these dimensions the Lord is coming to affect and change right now. And President Trump still has a very active, viable role in that. And he will still step in on the playing field itself. He's even under the playing field. Believe me, God is doing things with him.
Okay, so what I'm picking up here is saying Trump will be on the playing field. Right now he's under the playing field. So what I'm picking up here is Johnny Enlow is saying Donald Trump is behind the scenes pulling levers. God is using him to accomplish his goals behind the scenes right now. But soon he will be above the playing field. Essentially, he's saying he'll be president again. That may seem like a little bit of a stretch, that interpretation, but it's not, because he outright comes out and says that that is exactly what he means in a little while. Let's keep listening.
And I won't go into it more than that, but he's not a passive player. He is recognized from heaven. He is recognized as the primary government leader on planet Earth. People need to know that. From heaven, President Trump is recognized as the primary government leader on planet Earth.
Not the United States, but planet Earth, the entire planet. He was never that powerful. You saying he got a promotion, that God gave him a promotion? This is so fucking ridiculous.
President Trump will serve above board as well. He will serve above board, and God is going to do this, and it's going to be fairly quick what he does. But this is something he did speak to me earlier. He didn't give me dates. He never gave me a date on anything, just that he would win.
A year or two before, I think 2019, Johnny Enlow actually came out and claimed, this is obviously before the election took place, he claimed that God was going to put Trump back in office for 2020. And, you know, people don't even have to go out and vote if they don't want. God's going to take care of it. This is a rescue operation from heaven, is what he said.
And so I was like, Lord, as I'm saying that, the first thing he said is, he is going to save you from things you don't know you need to be saved from yet. And then the Lord progressively began to speak regarding that. And he said, this time in the presidency is going to be a hinge of the ages and be known as before Trump and after Trump because of the way I'm going to use him. I'm using him as a Trump card, but I'm the Trump card player. And so your nation will be known as before Trump and after Trump. And he said the nations will be known as before Trump, after Trump. And the Lord, it was like, he said, I'm really not interested in your all's vote this time. I'm doing it. I usually give you all that option. This time I'm not. This is a rescue operation from heaven. This is a moment of the ages. This will go down. This time period will go down as a before and after AD, but BC AD, depending on what terminology you use now.
And this is him reaffirming that what he said then was correct, that God, is going to put Trump into office. And it's a rescue mission, a rescue operation, and there's nothing Democrats can do to change that. We're in 2022 now, so yeah, I'm not really sure how you explain that one. Jesus Christ, this has got to be embarrassing. Well, 6 months later, after he made that claim, this is June 2021, he did this on the Flyover Conservative podcast. Check it out.
Have you heard any timeline? Of course, that one has to come out. Any timelines at all?
Yeah, so these people are obviously true believers, and they're hoping to get some insight from a prophet of God.
It's the same thing God says, and it's the most frustrating timeline ever. Soon! Because soon with him is
never our soon.
Never our soon. I just, it has to be this year. And
ouch. Has to be this year. This is June 2021. A year later, man. That's rough.
Yep.
We used to say it has to be this month.
Yeah, we used to say it has to be. The deal is we also know natural intel like you all do. And but I have to be led by spiritual intel.
Right.
What natural intel did you have that led you to believe that Trump was going to be reinstated as president in 2021? I didn't hear anything that could have possibly led you to think that.
Yes.
And I do believe the timing of the Lord is perfect in this.
Yeah.
And there are things, it's one of my prophetic friends right now believes, there was something that President Trump is so disturbed by certain things that are happening. He's wanting to even accelerate, that he was being tempted to accelerate and doing it faster than a plan that they had.
So now we're at a new level. This is a new thing. Johnny Enlow is saying that he has special insight into the fact that Donald Trump and God are working together. They made a plan together because God needs Donald Trump's help to make a plan. Apparently, God isn't good enough to make a plan himself. So he gets Donald Trump in there because, of course, Donald Trump is a master planner, and they work together to come up with a master plan to get Trump back into the White House. I guess that plan doesn't involve God snapping his fingers and just doing it, being omnipotent and all that other stuff. But here we are. Let's keep listening.
And that it wasn't necessarily the way they're supposed to go. And I'm like, no, I agree with Trump. Let's do it now.
Sure.
Let's do it.
This is fucking sad, dude. This is straight up fucking sad. This guy just keeps making supposed prophecy after supposed prophecy. You know what? Now that I think about it, I'm going to need a little evidence before I believe that Peru or wherever else you claimed gave you keys to the city. I'm going to need a little bit more evidence of that. I'm not sure I fully believe anything this dude has said, like anything. This clip came out December 3rd, 2021. It was fairly new. Let's check this one out.
People want more proof of what's presently the truth, what's going on behind the scenes. But when there is a fog of war, you can't tell. So you try to tell people President Trump is not as disempowered as you think.
It's all falling apart now. It's all crumbling. The dude went the entire year claiming that Donald Trump was going to be put back into office. He's been doing it really since 2018, claiming that Trump was absolutely for sure going to win the 2020 election. God told him that because God is mounting a rescue operation from heaven. He's making this happen. He's going to put Trump back into office in 2020. We don't even have to vote if we don't want to. And then 2020 rolls around, Trump loses, and Johnny Enlow starts saying, it's all part of the plan. All part of the plan. Just keep paying attention. It's all part of the plan. January rolls around and Biden is inaugurated. Just wait and see. It's going to happen. Just wait. June rolls around. Biden's still president. Just wait and see. It'll be soon. It has to be this year. December rolls around and he says, you just don't see it because there's a fog of war. Trump is really in the background pulling the strings, and he's going to be reinstated any day now. When does this delusion break? When does it happen? This guy's obsession with Trump is unhealthy. There is something wrong here. And I don't know that this guy will ever give up on him, really. I don't know that he ever will. Scarier part is the fact that there are, give or take, 400,000 people who watch this guy's stuff. I mean, 400,000 followers on his Elijah List Facebook page. 400,000 followers. That's more followers than I have. I mean, I have somewhere in the range of 50 million views on my main channel, and I have 300,000 subscribers. This guy has 400,000 subscribers. How many views do his Facebook pages get? I have to imagine 75 million, maybe. 75 million views. That's fucking obscene for how many people would watch something like this. Johnny Enlow is on this guy's channel constantly, always talking about Donald Trump. Donald Trump, he's going to be back in office. Just wait, he's going to be put back in. God's making a plan with him. You just can't see it because there's a fog of war. He's a great chess master and he's playing 4D chess right now. You just don't know about it because of the fog of war. Just keeps on going.
Me ask the prophetic people all the time, when's he going to be back in that seat? It's like, if you just knew a little more of the macro, he's doing what he's supposed to. And just to add to that, like, because I just saw it again in the spirit, what I saw a few days ago was I saw a picture of President Trump playing chess again. And he's very advanced. I could tell he's very good in advance, but then all the you back up, you see the higher view. God has him on his chessboard.
That's
And so
good.
Trump and his whole board were on his board, and he's actually playing Trump.
Is this guy ever going to accept it? And when this stuff inevitably fails, when his predictions fall flat, in fact, when Trump dies, which will inevitably happen in the next 10, 20 years, right? When Trump dies of old age or whatever, what's he going to say then? Is there going to be a new conspiracy theory? A new idea about, the deep state doing something to take him out or some other nonsense like that? And what happens after that? Is he going to whip his people into a blood frenzy over it? That is a distinct possibility and should be concerning to us.